We tend to think of cleaning as this simple, straightforward chore, right? A quick wipe down here, a fast vacuum there. But what if that whole good enough attitude is actually a pretty dangerous illusion? In this explainer, we're going to look way beyond the mop and bucket to uncover a new professional standard, one that treats cleanliness not as a task, but as a full-on science.
Wow, this quote it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? In the world we live in now, this isn't some dramatic exaggeration. For any business, any school, any doctor's office, this is a fundamental truth. Cleanliness has literally become a core strategy for keeping people healthy, productive, and safe.
So that brings us to our first major point, this illusion of good enough. You know the feeling, right? It's that sense that as long as a place looks tidy, it must be clean. But is it really? Let's dig in. I want you to think about your own workplace for a second. When you notice those dusty corners or those fingerprints all over the glass doors, you're not just seeing a little bit of dirt. You're actually seeing a breakdown in professional standards. It's a huge red flag that the old way of doing things just doesn't cut it anymore. And this table right here, it just perfectly lays out the difference between what we think is happening and what's really going on. The old way is all about speed and appearances. It looks clean. Maybe it even smells clean thanks to some artificial lemon spray. But the hidden reality is pretty grim. It often means germs are being spread from one surface to another, critical high-touch spots are totally missed, and you're creating an environment where sickness can just take off like wildfire. But the impact of a poorly cleaned space goes way beyond just germs. The actual condition of a building sends a powerful, unspoken message to every single person who walks through that door.
And this is where something called the broken window theory comes into play. In an office, visible signs of neglect, like a stained carpet or a dusty computer screen, send this subtle message that the details just don't matter around here. And that can directly lead to lower productivity and even carelessness from your team. A truly clean space, on the other hand, it helps build a culture where excellence is the norm.
Okay, now let's raise the stakes a bit, because for some places, the standard of clean isn't just about morale or looking good, it's about health and safety in the most critical sense you can imagine.
Let's take schools, for example. What a uniquely challenging environment. You've got hundreds of kids in close quarters, sharing everything, touching countless surfaces all day long. It's a perfect storm for germs.
And this is exactly why focusing on the hot zones is so crucial. A standard janitorial sweep just isn't going to do the job. We're talking about targeting the surfaces that get touched constantly, locker handles, keyboards, even the crank on a pencil sharpener. Properly disinfecting these specific areas is what actually stops illness from spreading and keeps students and teachers healthy.
So, if you thought schools were high stakes, well, welcome to the big leagues, medical offices. In a clinical setting, there is zero, and I mean zero room for error. Here, clean is quite literally a matter of life and death.
In these kinds of spaces, the protocols are absolutely non-negotiable. It means using powerful, hospital-grade disinfectants that are proven to kill really dangerous pathogens. It means enforcing a strict color-coded system, so a cleaning cloth from a restroom never, ever ends up in an exam room. And it goes beyond just surfaces. It even means controlling the air quality by cleaning vents that stop airborne pathogens from circulating.
All right, so we've spent a lot of time talking about the problems with the old approach. So what's the solution? Well, it's all about shifting to a modern, scientific approach to sanitation. I love this analogy. It's just so perfect. You wouldn't expect a surgeon to operate with a butter knife, right? So why on earth would we expect professional, clinical-level results from a team that's using a household vacuum or a cleaner they bought at the grocery store? True sanitation demands professional-grade tools, like vacuums with HEPA filters that actually trap allergens instead of just blowing them around the room. And here's a concept that really separates the pros from the amateurs: dwell time. See, you can't just spray a disinfectant and immediately wipe it off. For that chemical to actually kill viruses and bacteria, it has to stay wet on the surface for a specific amount of time, usually somewhere between 3 and 10 minutes. If a cleaner is wiping it off right away, guess what? They aren't actually disinfecting anything. So all of this leads to a really crucial shift in how we think about this. We have to stop seeing professional cleaning as just another expense and start seeing it as a smart investment that actually protects your bottom line.
Let's just look at the raw numbers for a second. If poor hygiene in an office leads to just 2 extra sick days a year for a staff of 50 people, that's 100 full days of lost productivity. That is a massive, tangible financial hit, all because things like doorknobs and keyboards weren't being cleaned properly.
This chart just visualizes that return on investment perfectly. That little bar on the left, that's the upfront cost of a professional cleaning service. It's tiny compared to that massive bar on the right, the true cost of neglect. And that bigger bar isn't just lost productivity. It also includes the cost of having to replace things like carpets and flooring way sooner than you should because they weren't maintained properly. So what does this new professional standard actually look like when you put it into practice? Let's break down what you should be demanding from any modern commercial cleaning partner you work with. The modern standard is really built on these pillars. You need accountability from local providers who have a reputation to protect. You need rigorous inspections to stop that slow decline in quality that always seems to happen after a few months. You need a customized plan because a school's needs are totally different from a tech office. And more, you need data-driven approaches like ATP testing, where they can literally swab a surface to measure for microorganisms and prove that it's truly scientifically clean. It's about replacing guesswork with hard data.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. When a client, a customer, or a potential new hire walks through your door, their very first impression is the environment you've created. A dingy space suggests careless work. An immaculate space? That communicates a real commitment to excellence. It's a direct reflection of your brand.
So let's just end on this one question. Your facility, your office, your school, right now, it is communicating a message to everyone, to your staff, to your clients, to your customers. What is it saying about you?